Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more buckshot testing. But I've got a pretty interesting one out here today that is not your really kind of typical buckshot load. Something I saw on sale on the store shelf the other day, and I figured I'd had to pick some up and come out here and try them, because I'm really interested to see what this combination might be able to do. And with that being said, I'm going to add a couple extra little things in that I don't typically do with a lot of buckshot loads for today's test, but I think it might be able to give us a little bit more information or a little bit better perspective on what these might actually be able to do. So for the load we've got out here today, it is some of these, the Federal Shorty shot shells. These are a 12 gauge, 1 3/4 inch, 1200 feet per second, 15 pellet load of 4 buck. And when it says Shorty shells, they are right. I mean, these things are tiny little things. If you've ever messed with like the Aguila mini shells or anything like that, this is a mini shell for sure. Now, typically from the very little bit that I've ever messed around with Shorty shells, they tend to be kind of quirky and finicky, and sometimes they do okay for performance, but other times they're just kind of like a ranged gimmick kind of round. But I have heard and seen a couple decent things out of these Federal Shorties, so when I saw them, I had to pick them up. And for today's test, I wish I had a nice tactical shotgun or something like that to try them through, but I don't. So I'm working with what I've got, and that setup is the Remington 1187 Premier here. Now, to start out with, since those are kind of oriented more towards a defense load, I threw in a cylinder bore choke into this gun, and even though it's not tactical by any means, a cylinder bore is kind of a cylinder bore, and we're going to start out by shooting around across the chronograph at 7 yards at a nice shoot and see target that I've got. It's an 8-inch in diameter target, so if we have all of our pellets within that 8-inch circle, we're definitely looking good out of a cylinder choke like that. And then after we see what kind of speed we get and how close it is to the box velocity and what kind of quote-unquote defensive scenario type of performance we might be able to see, then I'm going to switch that gun to a full choke, which is what I normally shoot buckshot through, and I'm going to go back to my usual 40 yards, and I'm going to shoot a 40-yard pattern and see just what it can do there. Even though it's not really a hunting load or anything like that, it could still provide us a decent performing load out to 40 or 50 yards for like coyotes or foxes or anything like that. So I figured we'll take it up there and shoot it as well. And then just for a bonus, I found a few extra water jugs in the back of my truck the other day. So I've got 3 1-gallon jugs set up over here. And to finish it out, I'm going to shoot around at, I don't know, maybe 10 steps or so through those water jugs. That way we can kind of see what kind of energy dump we might have on a target as well in kind of those defensive type ranges. So with that being said, let's start out with the cylinder bore choke. We're going to be at 7 yards. So let's see what this can do through a cylinder choke in a defensive scenario at 7 yards here. Alright, so that round gave us 1129 across the chronograph. The box called for 1200, so that's what, 71 feet per second under what the box claimed, out of a much longer barrel, so it should have actually helped our velocity a little bit, I would think anyway. But we definitely saw lower than what the box was claiming, but that's definitely not the end of the world, so let's go look at our actual target and see how it actually did at a defensive range. Alright, so we're down here now at the 7-yard target, and this is what we got. This is an 8-inch in diameter target here, and we do indeed have all 15 pellets in this target. And as we can see, we had the little shot cup or wad or whatever you would like to call it hit over here in the top left. But as far as everything else, it is absolutely right there within that 8 inches. So from a cylinder bore choke at 7 yards, that would absolutely do the job for a defensive scenario. No question there. So definitely, we're looking good so far. But what can it do through a full choke for things like foxes or coyotes? Let's go up to 40 yards, throw that full choke in, shoot it, and see what we might actually be able to get out of it then. Alright, so as you can see, we had 1141 off that shot. So we're still 59 feet per second under what the box claimed. So they definitely are moving a little bit slower than what I would like them to be, but definitely not out of the ballpark by any means. So let's go down to 40 yards and see what they actually did at a little bit longer range. Okay, so now we're down at 40 yards, and this is our target. For reference, it's 36 inches wide by roughly 36 inches tall, and that white dot was my point of aim. So we had a total of 9 out of the 15 actually hit this piece of paper here. There's 3 that kind of straggle off to the left here. And this little group right here is still looking pretty good, I gotta say. It is not anything super amazing by any means, but for a shorty shell like that, that is not really technically designed to do that, I'm pretty decently happy with that. It's by no means anything amazing, but if that's what you had, I would say that you can probably take it out after a fox or a coyote. Definitely inside of 40 yards for sure, but out to 40 yards, that probably would have gotten the job done. It's not anything amazing, but it's definitely a little bit better than what I was expecting to see out of a shell that is not at all really designed to do this specific test right here. Alright, for those of you wondering, this is what the little wad or shot cup or whatever you would like to call it in these looks like. It's got 4 petals, kind of like a normal wad would, but it's very, very stiff. So these are not going to peel open on you. But either way, as you can see, there's nothing stuck down in there for shot or buffer material or anything like that. Everything looks relatively normal all the way around. Nothing really too special to see. So definitely a really short wad design. But I mean, for those mini shells, you got to have something small like this. But either way, nothing really too special to see. And I think it did what it was supposed to do anyway. Alright y'all, so we're looking relatively decent so far for both tests. But let's finish this thing off with a little bit of fun, but still some pretty good information for us. So like I said earlier, we've got 3 water jugs set up over here. I'm going to step back maybe 10 steps or so. That way I don't just absolutely get too soaked. And we'll shoot around into it and see what kind of actual energy dump we might have on our target. And for those of you interested real quick, neither one of these shells cycled in this 1187, which I didn't expect them to, being shorty shells. But I know somebody's probably curious and asking about it. But either way, let's get the camera turned around here on these water jugs. It's not really going to be a penetration test, but we might catch a couple pellets anyway. I don't know, we'll see. But let's get you guys a good view. I'll step back here. We'll take a shot into these water jugs and see what kind of energy dump we have. Alright, so as you all can very clearly see here, we had some pretty decent energy dump here. This first jug is completely destroyed here. And in here we do have that little shot cup wad piece. There's nothing in it, but it is there. But this jug, completely destroyed, and there's nothing in it. But we did have a good solid hit on there. Everything right in the center. So we're looking good there. Our second jug, still looking nice and center there. Everything's looking good. But everything right out the back it went. There's absolutely nothing in here but a tiny little bit of water left. So we didn't catch anything there either. So that's definitely 2 jugs worth of penetration. And our third jug here, same story. We had everything hit right, still going right in the center there. So we're looking good there. But yet again, nothing but a tiny little bit of water. And everything did exit right out of the back. So definitely looking pretty good there. Alright y'all, so what did you think about these little shorty shells? I've never played with any of the federal ones, and I'm definitely pretty happy with the performance we saw, especially for the 7-yard test in a defensive scenario. This is by no means a tactical shotgun or a defensive shotgun or anything like that. So to have all 15 of those pellets in essentially what is a softball sized group, because they were all clearly within that 8-inch target, was definitely a plus. And we definitely saw some good energy dump and 3 jugs worth of penetration. And it probably would have gone through another one as well if I would have had a 4th. So we're looking good there. So at the end of the day, what did you guys think about it? I'm definitely pretty happy with them. And I definitely think I want to test a few more combinations with these shells and see what it might be able to do. But let me know your thoughts about it and where we should go from here with these shells. And with that being said, I'm going to jump back to doing some more testing for you guys. So stay tuned because we've got plenty more interesting stuff on the way. And I'll see y'all in the next one.